One of the strongest and most compelling additions to Batman's rich and enduring mythology that has surfaced in recent years have been the Court of Owls, created by writer Scott Snyder and artist Greg Capullo. They are a secret criminal organization consisting of some of the oldest and wealthiest members of Gotham City's upper class. They watch over the city from the shadows and have existed since colonial times. For close to 400 years, they were thought to be nothing more than a folk tale, a conspiracy, passed down through generations within an eerie nursery rhyme. Beware the Court of Owls that watches all the time, ruling Gotham from a shadowed perch behind granite and lime. They watch you at your hearth, they watch you in your bed. Speak not a whispered word about them, or they'll send the Talon for your head. The Court of Owls is a brilliant concept that makes for a very fascinating antagonistic force in Batman stories. Their symbol is that of an Athenian owl, which appears within Greek mythology, associated with wisdom, wealth, and power. The Court of Owls are a great opponent for Batman. In the animal world, owls are one of the very few natural predators of bats. The legend of the court also rivals that of Batman's within Gotham. People fear them, and their myth has been looming over the city a lot longer than the Dark Knight's has. Today, I wanted to take a look at the back-to-back storylines, the Court of Owls, Night of the Owls, and the City of Owls, that ran between late 2011 until mid to late 2012. Part of Batman Volume 2 within DC's New 52 continuity that introduced the Court of Owls in comics. All three stories act as chapters of a greater whole, and in my honest opinion, are some of the best Batman stories ever written. Definitely one of the strongest to come out of the New 52, and one of my all-time favorites. It centers around a lot of old-timey ideas, with Batman investigating a dark and unsettling mystery within Gotham City, and inadvertently uncovering a literal skeleton in its closet. Our story begins with Bruce Wayne hosting a special gala event to reveal plans he has for Gotham City, investing in its future, updating its public transit systems, and restoring the city's aging architecture. He is introduced to the new mayoral candidate, Lincoln March, hoping to get his support with the project. Later, Batman meets with Harvey Bullock, where an unknown John Doe victim has been found murdered. There are no records as to who he is, almost as if he had been wiped off the face of the earth. While investigating the crime scene, Batman uses Bullock's lit cigar to ignite a concealed message that reads, "Bruce Wayne will die tomorrow." The next day, Bruce meets with March at Wayne Tower to discuss his project and the possibility of funding March's mayoral campaign. Their meeting is cut short, however, when a mysterious man in a black owl costume attacks them and proclaims that the Court of Owls has sentenced Bruce Wayne to death before kicking him out of the tower's window. The two battle as they plummet to the streets of Gotham below. Bruce manages to catch himself on a concealed gargoyle, and the assassin seemingly falls to his death. However, unbeknownst to Bruce, his attacker did manage to survive his fall, surging back to life within the ambulance on his way to the hospital, commandeering it and making his escape. Batman performs an autopsy on the John Doe found earlier, which seems to indicate the Court of Owls are somehow responsible. Batman doesn't believe they exist, though, not giving in to superstition, feeling that if they were real, he would have learned about them a long time ago. Bruce speaks with Alfred in the Batcave about his great-great-grandfather, Alan Wayne, who had been superstitious and was responsible for helping build nearly 20 of Gotham's oldest landmarks. In all of them, due to his superstitions, he had the 13th floors removed, but would leave space in each of the buildings between the 12th and 14th floors in order to contain the bad luck of the missing 13th. With the Court of Owls nursery rhyme making reference to the court watching you in the comfort of your own home, not to mention the fact that owls are known to take over the nests of other birds rather than build their own, Batman decides to investigate these false floors within the buildings. He finds hidden rooms full of weapons, armor, and other training devices, as well as dated photographs from the late 1800s, evidence that the Court of Owls have existed in Gotham for a very long time. Bruce returns to the Batcave and begins examining the bones of his great-great-grandfather, hoping they will reveal another clue. Alan Wayne was believed to have drowned in the early 1900s when he fell into an open manhole cover in his old age. His mental health had been deteriorating, but no foul play had been suspected. Dick Grayson approaches Bruce at his work table and asks him why he feels so certain that the Court of Owls do not exist. He explains that he had tried to uncover the mystery behind the Court of Owls as a small boy, shortly after the death of his parents. He refused to believe they had died due to the random act of a criminal, and instead found comfort believing it was the result of some greater conspiracy. In what Bruce labels as his first case as a detective, he had found the location of their lair, at least he thought he had, only to find an old empty room filled with dust. Bruce had accidentally locked himself within it and was trapped for over a week before the police and Alfred were able to find him. The failure of that investigation, which almost led to his death, shook his spirits, and he vowed to never let his emotions get in the way of a case ever again, focus on the evidence presented and not just his gut feelings. Once the scanning of his great-great-grandfather's bones is completed, finding puncture marks from the same type of throwing knives used by the court's Talon assassin that had attacked him earlier at Wayne Tower, Batman ventures into the Gotham sewers, to the last known location of his great-great-grandfather. As he explores the tunnels and is distracted by dust residue on one of the walls, that same assassin jumps him from behind, knocking him through the wall, where he falls deep below the city. The Dark Knight awakens within a giant labyrinth, being watched by 3 masked figures on a screen. For 8 whole days, Batman is trapped within the maze, without food, without water, without any natural light, not even his trusty utility belt which had been taken away. He has been walking in circles, finding himself in the same rooms of the maze over and over again, that have old-timey cameras watching his every move. His sanity begins to unravel as he is shown portraits of the court's unsettling number of victims throughout the years, portraits of forgotten faces and names. After being forced to drink water he believes has most likely been drugged, Batman begins hallucinating a lot of fucked up shit, the craziest being his deceased parents, whose mouths break open as blood-drenched owls fly out of them. Batman seemingly awakens from his nightmare, only to find himself in yet another camera room, this time with a portrait of his own face hanging there, as the next victim of the Court of Owls. As he continues to lose his mind, the Talon from earlier sneaks up on him once again and stabs Batman through his abdomen. The Talon hoists Batman's weakened body above his head for the court to see and calls for them to choose how he will die. It's at this point that we see the state of some of the lower-leveled members of the Court of Owls, creepy mutated human-owl hybrids. There are even small little girls that only a mother could love, clutching dolls equally as creepy, demanding that the Talon inflict more pain on Batman, more and more and more. Despite the savage beating, the Dark Knight manages to fight back against the Talon long enough to incapacitate him and ignite potassium chlorate he had taken from one of the maze's cameras, causing an explosion which allows Batman to escape through the Gotham River. Furious that Batman managed to survive, a masked elderly woman, seemingly the one who rules over the Court of Owls, orders that the rest of the Talons be awoken from their red tomb-like sleeping chambers and attack the city immediately. Batman had walked past this section of their inner sanctum during his fun trip through the maze, piecing together that the photographs on the chambers were of the children the court had transformed into monsters, killers. Batman crawls his way back to the Batcave, only to find the body of the Talon he had fought inside. It had been found frozen in the Gotham River, and Alfred had taken it to the Batcave for examination. Probably the most contrived element of this entire story, but I'll let it slide. Anyways, Bruce begins tests on it, and learns that the assassin had been able to survive the fall from Wayne Tower due to an electrum compound that had been deposited throughout his body over the course of several years, embedded underneath a tooth. With an electrical charge, the compound has the ability to reanimate dead tissue, and can only be stopped with intense levels of cold. The Talon assassin is also revealed to be the great-grandfather of Dick Grayson, named William Cobb. Dick was planned to be the newest Talon within the Court of Owls, having the electrum compound embedded under one of his teeth while he was performing for the circus as a child. Batman is able to remove it following a swift backhand punch to Dick's jaw, which is pretty hilarious, even if it was a little douchey not warning him first. Anywho, the court had sent their army of Talons to attack Gotham, and one of their primary targets is Wayne Manor. They have unfinished business with Bruce. Alfred hides out in the Batcave, but a Talon manages to make its way inside, and the court learns that Batman and Bruce Wayne are one and the same. Bruce and Alfred lock themselves in the Batcave armory, and Bruce gives Alfred a micro-drive chip to decrypt, one he had taken from a gauntlet of one of the Talons. He also orders Alfred to drop the temperature in the cave below 0 to freeze the Talons in their tracks. To hold off the assassins until that happens, as well as maintain his own body's temperature, Bruce exits the armory wearing a giant mechanized batsuit and tells the Talons to get the hell out of his house. Alfred successfully decrypts the drive, finding a list of public figures the court plan on killing in the next few hours. Members of City Council, Commissioner Gordon, and the Mayor are just a few of their targets. A distress signal is sent out to the entire Bat family to save as many of them as possible. Bruce is able to defeat the Talon intruders once the temperature in the cave drops to freezing. Later, it's revealed that the captured Talons are put in a cryo prison at Blackgate Penitentiary. With the Talons and the Batcave eliminated, he sets out to help the rest of the Bat family in Gotham. He goes to the campaign office of Lincoln March, finding him with a throwing knife in his chest. Before dying, March gives Batman a list of 3 names, possibly those of high-ranking members within the Court of Owls, and Batman puts on his detective goggles. Ironically, his search leads him to the same location he investigated as a child, Harbor House. I guess it is best to trust your instincts, huh, Bruce? Instead of finding the dining hall empty, filled with dust, this time he finds it full of dead Court of Owls council members, seemingly killed by their own hands. Over the next few weeks, Bruce refuses to believe it was a mass suicide. More than likely, it had been a betrayal. There is evidence indicating that all of the dead members' bank accounts had been emptied, siphoning into an entirely separate one. As Bruce begins putting on his batsuit, staring at a portrait of his parents, he has a powerful realization, looking at the heart-shaped pin on the neck of his mother's sweater. Batman rushes to the city morgue, looking for a particular body, only to find a note that reads, "Follow me down the rabbit hole?" He interprets this as an invitation to the condemned Willowwood home for children, located on top of the only known sinkhole in Gotham City. Willowwood had been a place where children suffering from mental illness had been taken for treatment, but was later execrated due to the abuse and neglect its staff showed said children. Suddenly, Batman is caught in a net by a mysterious figure, revealed to be Lincoln March, or at least the man who had claimed to be Lincoln March. He tells Batman that he cheated death with the help of the Talon serum and betrayed the rest of the court, stealing their money and poisoning them because they had, essentially, been getting in the way of his revenge. He explains that there was the intention to create a Talon assassin strong enough to rival Batman as an equal, and dons the special armor of that warrior. The biggest revelation the man drops, though, is his identity, being that of Bruce Wayne's long-lost brother, Thomas Wayne Jr. He had been born prematurely due to a car accident their mother had been involved in when she was pregnant. Thomas would have neurological damage due to the early birth, being in a vegetative state, and hid by the Waynes at Willowwood in the hopes that he would heal from his ailments. Willowwood had been a nice hospital at first. That was until its biggest contributors, Thomas and Martha Wayne, had been murdered. Thomas blames Bruce for their deaths and wants retribution. That and the fact that Bruce had forgotten about him, allowing him to rot at Willowwood for all those years as a child. Batman breaks free from the net, and the two Wayne brothers battle each other, Owl versus Bat. Thomas flies Bruce high into the sky and nearly liquefies his body when trying to throw him into an airplane's jet engine. Bruce is able to plant a small bat bomb on his brother's back without him knowing, and the explosion sends them both crashing into the nearby partially constructed tower that acts as the centerpiece of Bruce's new Gotham initiative. Thomas grabs a hold of Bruce and plants various explosive charges throughout the structure to destroy its foundation. Batman manages to escape the blast, and the body of Thomas Wayne Jr. is never found. The story ends back at Wayne Manor, and injured Bruce speaks with Dick, vowing to round up the remaining members of the Court of Owls and uncover their many secrets. Batman the Court of Owls is an incredible story, what can I say? The writing by Scott Snyder is superb, and the artwork by Greg Capullo is outstanding. I love a lot of the ghastly visuals depicted here, very haunting and eerie, that get under your skin. Seeing Batman slowly uncover the Court of Owls, this dark and mysterious group nested firmly within the underbelly of the city, is definitely one of the story's coolest aspects. The intrigue is what really hooks you from start to finish. You want answers just as much as Batman does. The concept of the Court of Owls is just incredible. I love the history element behind it, the fact that they've been around for so long, committing these heinous acts for generations. It's really awesome how easily Scott Snyder was able to retroactively add this kind of idea to the long-standing mythology of the Batman character, and not make it feel out of place in any way. He makes it a very believable addition. The court didn't exist because they didn't want you to know they exist. It's as simple as that. Why no one had spoken about them all this time. I think the sequence taking place within the Court of Owls' giant labyrinth hidden deep beneath the city is one of the story's highlights, very memorable. It's the whole notion of a predator toying with its prey, torturing them, draining the very life and soul from their body. Batman is bled white within the maze, and his pale and chalky appearance is a strong visualization of that. Something I do see a few people target in relation to this story is the big revelation at the end that Bruce Wayne, all this time, has had this secret younger brother he has no recollection of from his childhood. Many view it as being contrived and nonsensical, one of the story's only real blemishes. However, if you pay close attention to the text, it is left rather ambiguous. Bruce reveals that there are official hospital records confirming the existence of a younger brother that had been born following the car accident, but that he had died a mere 12 hours afterwards. There is no evidence that these records had been falsified in any way, and that the baby had been sent to Willowwood instead. A week after Thomas Wayne Jr. had died, there had been a mysterious John Doe baby that arrived at Willowwood. Bruce strongly believes that the Court of Owls had gotten to this child and manipulated him, making him believe that he was in fact a Wayne and giving him the new identity of Lincoln March, named after the intersection where the car accident that killed Thomas Wayne Jr. had occurred. Now, of course, March could have truly been Thomas Wayne Jr. The baby could have survived, and the hospital records somehow altered. But Bruce would need March's DNA in order to prove all of this, and his body was not found following their battle, hence the ambiguous nature of it all. Lincoln March would reappear in other Batman stories down the road, but I am speaking only of what is shown in this storyline itself. That's it. I don't know if the answer has ever been fully revealed, but if it has, then that's a real shame, because I think this kind of stuff is always far more interesting when you leave it unanswered and keep the audience guessing. Honestly, though, I don't think Lincoln March is Thomas Wayne Jr. anyways. I can't see Bruce's parents hiding something like that. You get to read a letter from Jarvis Pennyworth, the family's butler, throughout the Court of Owls storyline. He had intended to give it to his son Alfred, but unfortunately it was destroyed in a fire caused by a premeditated Talon attack. Regardless, the letter paints a sad portrait of intense loss and grief over a dead son, one born prematurely. The way it's depicted, I just don't buy it all being a fabrication. I just don't. Call it a hunch, a gut feeling, even if Batman never says to do that. Fuck him. I want to thank you all for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful in some way. If you'd like to help support this channel and its content, think about subscribing and becoming a patron over on patreon.com/channelNerdGasm. I will see you all in the next one. Take care and stay nerdy.